Hey y'all, we're back
Hello.
for video number 3.
1, 2, 3. That's all the French I know.
I don't even know what that means.
1, 2, 3.
Oh.
I was like 1, 2, 3.
So we just want to say thank y'all for watching last week. We got some new subscribers, so we're pretty happy about that.
Welcome. Welcome.
Yeah. And just a side note, unless your YouTube is public, we can't see who actually subscribes to our video. So
we can't do names.
Yeah,
we
we can't
don't
shout out to you or reach out to
We
you.
don't know the names.
So, but we are very thankful for you. We're glad that you're watching and that you have subscribed. And
we're cool enough to watch.
So this week is pretty cool because Avery actually decided what we would be talking about this week, because I was like drawing a blank and had nothing going on up here for what we should talk about.
Kind of like me 5 minutes ago. What am I gonna say?
So at the beginning of the week, I was kind of just like laying in bed like, God, please just give me something to talk about. I have nothing going on. I have nothing that's like sticking out to me. Like, to talk. This is what I should talk about, or this is something people will kind of relate to. Blah blah blah. So then the next morning, Avery walks in and she was like, "Hey, let's talk about this."
I had written it down and everything.
So I was like, "Whoa, okay, thanks. You were just sent by God to me." So.
Hello, child. Hello.
All right, so let them know what we're going to be discussing.
So, I was doing my quiet time, and I was reading some verses, and what God spoke to me was finding fulfillment in God rather than society, finding wealth and riches through God's standards, rather than finding wealth and riches through society's standards.
That's good.
So, when I was reading that, I was going through some of these verses. There's one in Ecclesiastes 5, and it's, "Those who love money will never have enough. How meaningless to think that wealth brings true happiness." And that kind of hit home for me because I changed my mind about a lot of things in life and made a lot of decisions based on money. Like my first one of like 7 majors in college. It was like nursing, because I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be a nurse. That's decent money, whatever. I didn't even think if I could like do it. And then now I'm like, get away, like blood. Like I can't even watch someone take blood out of my arm. So I was like, I can't, there's no way. So anyways, I just made a lot of decisions based on money and went through like different jobs based on money and stuff like that, and I was always just kind of made decisions based on money, I guess, and what I thought I would do. Like, oh, I could do this because I'd be comfortable and have money and all this stuff, which it's silly to think, because money and possessions and things that society and earthly folk, not the aliens. The aliens are fine. The society thinks is stable, stability. Like, oh yeah, you make money so you have cushion just in case something happens. Like, we just want that financial stability, which that's dumb, because that can be taken away like that.
Yeah.
Because it's not our money, it is God's money, essentially. And so, I just...
What's the dog?
Shh. Quiet, please. And them little turkeys. And... what am I going to say? I have made some decisions based on money, but it has like worked out in my favor, and I just think because it was like what God wanted me to do. But then I was also reading this, Ecclesiastes 6 verse 7, all people spend their life scratching for food, but they never seem to have enough. So, it's not, just talking about food, it's talking about anything. If you are trying to find happiness and fulfillment and earthly things, you're never gonna have enough. You're gonna just keep scratching, clawing, trying to get as much as you possibly can out of it. And what I wrote about this was people are always
Can't read your own
what
writing?
does that say? Always searching, looking. I don't know. Are always something more in their material and physical world. I don't know what this says, but anyways, we'll move past that sentence. People seek more money, more possessions, more fame, more friends, more title. All of this is meaningless. They are seeking more to be fulfilled when they feel empty. They are trying to. Is that feel or fill? No, they're trying to fill a spiritual gap. I swear, I'm great. Hold on, let me Jesus. Okay, they're trying to fill a spiritual gap with with physical or material objects, which can't be done. You can't fix something spiritual with something physical. That's not how it works. You can only fix physical with physical and spiritual with spiritual. Or physical with spiritual. You know, there is healing. God heals. There's my serious moment. Only God can fill that void and purpose and longing. And then I did a side note. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. Everyone needs to be fulfilled. So even if you do get all these riches and stuff, if you don't have the Lord fulfilling you spiritually, you're still going to be empty. You're still going to feel empty. And even if you're poor and you don't and you are, you know, by society standards, poor and don't have anything, you can still be, you can be fulfilled in Christ. So it doesn't matter what your material possessions are. So I said both rich and poor are the same. Without Jesus, they're seeking something to fill themselves with. I'm so good. So much better on paper than I am like this. Which is why I stopped doing broadcast journalism. Another major of mine. But anyways, and so I was reading that and thinking about what that looks in real life and what other people think about that. And you know, people are seeking power, prestige, popularity, money, and to the majority, this is kind of like an unattainable goal. So like a lot of people are like, oh, I'm worthless because I can't do these things, or I'm worthless because I don't have these things and can't get these things or make this much money. And so people they're like, okay, I'm worthless because society says I'm worthless because I'm supposed to have these things in order to be something or be someone. Yeah. And it's just kind of sad. And I'm like, why do we seek approval from people when people are so fickle? People just change their minds. Like someone could be on, look at Hollywood and all these artists, musical artists, like someone could have like a one and done and they'd be like, oh, they're the best person in the world, yeah, get all this fame and stuff, and then they're selling hot dogs on the corner. I don't know if that's real, but you know, it's just the fame and glory that they thought they would have was short-lived. And that's how life is. You never know what's going to happen. So, like, why are we seeking approval from people who are going to change their minds when we can seek God's approval and His love is unchanging. It'll stay the same no matter how much money you have or how little money you have, or if you're living under a bridge or in a giant mansion. Like God's love never changes. Yeah. And to get to those places, like people who go out and are just money hungry and want all these material things, a lot of people, what am I trying to say about this? I wrote it down so I won't forget. To reach these earthly goals, their morals and ethics are compromised. So it's like, what are we giving up that is actually more precious, you know, and that should be treasured more. We're giving up those treasured things to attain these earthly, stupid things that don't matter, that don't hold really any value to our life whatsoever. That's that.
That was really good.
Thanks. Wait, I have something else. I know, I was like, Shianna, I need a minute because I just don't know what I'm going to say. And then the Spirit was like, That's what happens. And then Ecclesiastes 6:9, enjoy what you have rather than desiring what you don't have. Just dreaming about nice things is meaningless, like chasing the wind. And so I was like,
yeah, that's good.
Yeah, like, because I'm really bad about like buying like kitchen stuff and like, oh, I want that pot and pan, or I want that garlic press, or look at that mini waffle maker, which I have all of those. So, and it's just like, oh, this is fun and cute, and this is exactly what I need to cook or do this. Like, I won't be able to cook unless I have this. And even though that's just like kind of a small example, but it's just like, when does it stop? When does the madness stop? Avery, when will you have enough kitchen equipment?
Yeah.
Like, I had a backup blender just in case.
Well, and that can also like bleed into other things, you know, like when will you have enough kitchen stuff? When will you have enough makeup? When will you have enough likes on Instagram?
Clothing.
When will you have enough?
Yeah.
So I think that can go into other things.
Absolutely. And the answer is never. You will never have enough unless you do find your fulfillment and contentment in Jesus. Jesus!
That's good.
Okay, and then I have one other thing. I was reading... Where is it at? Oh, it's right here. Ecclesiastes 10, verse 19. And so Ecclesiastes is written by Solomon. It's about a fool's perspective versus a wise person's perspective, and a wise person is God-fearing and walks with God and finds, follows God and his directions. And this verse says, a party gives laughter, wine gives happiness, and money gives everything. And this is kind of like the perspective of a fool and what, again, these are material things. What society says is going to make you happy and fulfilled. And what I got out of that is, all these things are temporary. God is the answer for lasting laughter. God is the answer for lasting happiness. And God is the answer for everything.
Yeah. Because
he really is. And, that really hits home for me because, especially with the money thing, because I don't, I make enough money to live, but I'm like, I'm not being able to save as much as I want to. What if this happens? And I'm not going to have money to pay, if my car breaks down or something, I'm not going to have any money. So
yeah,
I was really focused on that a lot, and I think that was the enemy trying to get me sidetracked, because God is opening up some doors and opportunities in my life that I'm really excited for, and that I'll get into later. And instead of continuing my focus on that, I was like, crap, I need to quit my job. I need to get another job. I need more money. I can't do what I need to do with this amount of money. And then I was going through these, and God was like, you don't need more money, Avery. You need to be a better steward of your money. You need to not, oh, I need this, I'm going to buy this. Oh, I forgot to make my lunch, I'm going to go out to eat real quick or whatever. I just need to I think he wants me to be more structured and more organized, and I know the last video was all about not planning our lives or something, but there's difference between trying to plan your future and plan everything versus having structure. But I think God is just really wanting me to have more structure in my life, and when it comes to like finances and things like that. So not necessarily like, and then giving my money away as well, like tithing and stuff, because I'd be like, well, I don't have enough money to tithe this month, so I'll catch you next time, God. But it's like, it's like, what are you doing? You know, we actually had like a service about Greek, and it was all about God can do more with the 90% than he'll do with the 100% whenever you put your when you put your money to him first. Give your money to him first. So that's just showing obedience and stuff like that. So
awesome.
That's all I got. What you got? What you think about that, Shianna?
Well, I've been kind of feeling like God is saying to me that I need to give my money away. And I first felt like that probably about a month ago. And then I was just like, what? Why?
What money?
Because, you know, I'm 26 years old, so it's not like I'm super rich or anything like that. So I was just like, I need my money. I need this money to pay stuff and to do things. And
to not die.
I just felt like he was just like, you know, you need to give your money away. You have an abundance, even if to somebody else's standards it might not be. You have an abundance that you need to give away. And so I've just kind of been praying about that and thinking about that for the past month. And me and Avery actually had a conversation about it at the beginning of the week, where I said, I think God is really preparing me for a job where I don't really make a lot of money, or I don't make as much money as I do now. So I think that's why he's just telling me you need to give your money away and trust me, because regardless of how much you make or how much value that other people place on your job, you're going to be richly fulfilled by fulfilling the purpose that I have for you. So I'm not sure when that's going to happen or what it's going to be or anything like that. So I'm just trying to keep an open heart and be obedient to kind of what he's speaking into me. And I just think as 26-year-olds and, you know, other people around our age, there's just so much pressure on us to make the most money, to be the prettiest, to be the best, to be all these things. And so it's easy to lose focus, kind of.
You didn't see what I did.
I didn't.
The prettiest, sorry.
It's easy to focus on those things rather than where God is leading you or what purpose God wants you to fulfill in your life. Mm-hmm. So I've just kind of been thinking about that, and I found a couple verses that I wanted to include for this video. And one is in the Old Testament and one is in the New Testament, which is pretty awesome because kind of the idea behind the verse in the Old Testament, Jesus is actually speaking about in the New Testament. So I always think that's pretty awesome when he goes in and he fulfills what was said in the Old Testament. So I'm like, I know when I first started like learning about the Bible and reading the Bible, I was like, what? This actually happened. He's actually speaking on this in the New Testament. So that was just a side note. So this verse is from Proverbs 23, verses 4 through 5. Do not wear yourself out to get rich. Do not trust your own cleverness. Cast but a glance at riches and they are gone, for they will surely sprout wings and fly off to the sky like an eagle. And this is actually from my study Bible. It's the Life Application Study Bible. I got it from Mardell's. Looks like this. If you guys want one.
I have Life Study Bible as well.
Mm-hmm. Mine's NIV.
Mine is NLT.
So just whatever your preference is. But I like study Bibles because it kind of explains a little bit about the verses. If you're not really sure about what you read, you're not really understanding it. It kind of gives a background into what they're saying or things like that.
Yeah.
So I really like how this says, don't spend your time chasing fleeting earthly treasures. Instead, store up treasures in heaven, for such treasures will never be lost. And so I think that's what a lot of young adults like us struggle with, is we are just pressured so much to place value on so many earthly things. And it's just like, I've heard past sermons before, and I'm sure you have, about only seeing people's highlight reels on social media, and especially Facebook. You know, they're posting the latest and greatest, but of course they are, because, you know, they're not going to post on there that, oh my gosh, I had the most terrible day ever, and this went wrong, and this went wrong, and this went wrong. So it's almost like on every corner you're seeing somebody got a new car, somebody bought a house, somebody did this, somebody got this job, you know. So it's like, we're so pressured to place so much value on earthly treasures that we forget that the value that we place on God and his love for us and what he wants for us, those treasures will never be lost in heaven. And so I think kind of that point is lost when you start focusing on how much money you have, or what things you have, or what you can buy, or things like that. And then Jesus kind of speaks to this in Luke chapter 12, verses 33 through 34. Sell your possessions and give to the poor. Provide purses for yourselves that will not wear out, a treasure in heaven that will never fail, where no thief comes near and no moth destroys. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So at the end of this, I think he's saying, you know, what you are putting your focus on and what you're treasuring, that's where your heart's going to be, and that's where your focus is going to be. So if you're chasing jobs for money, or if you're chasing things for likes or for looks or anything like that, that's where your focus is going to be, and that's where your heart is going to be, and it's not going to be focused on what God has for your life. And like Avery was saying earlier, you're never truly going to be fulfilled with those things, because they could be gone in an instant, and they will be gone. You know, once we die here on earth and we go to heaven,
can't take that stuff with you.
Those things will be gone. And so what we treasure and what we store to when we get to heaven, those things are the things that will matter. So I think just for me, because, you know, I just graduated college in June, and my bachelor's is in business management. But before that, I actually got an associate's in elementary education. And when I chose that major, I just remember so many people saying to me, well, you're not going to make a lot of money. So you should probably just choose something else, because there's just no money in that career. And that's true, but at the same time, there's so much more joy and fulfillment that you can get out of it that goes far beyond any monetary gain that you could ever receive. So, and, you know, I'm not saying you can never have a job where you do make a lot of money, or that people who make a lot of money are chasing money or anything like that. But I just think where your heart is, I think is what you're going to follow.
Yeah.
So, you know, your purpose might be in a job where you do make a lot of money, and that's great. And you're still fulfilling God's purpose for you.
And God is blessing you with that, and in turn you can bless others with that too. So I think a lot of people forget that God exists and God is going to help, you know, financially, you know, as well. As long as you're faithful and you stick to his guns, like through the good and the bad, you know, he's always going to come through for you. Right.
So that's just what we want to encourage you with this week, is for you to know that whatever pressures you're feeling from society, or what society has kind of placed on us to live up to, that none of that matters. No matter how much money you make, or how many cars you have, or how nice your car is, or your house is, or whatever it may be.
A hot birthday.
Or how pretty you are. None of that matters, because God's love for us is, like Avery said earlier, it's unchanging, and it's not based on what we have, because we really had nothing to offer when God sent Jesus to die on the cross for our sins, and he just loved us that much. So we just want to encourage you that if that's what you're hanging on to, and that's what you're trying to find your fulfillment in, to just lay that down and let that go, because you're going to be far more richly blessed once you lean into what God has for you and really chase the purpose that God has called for your life.
Yeah, and don't let financial uncertainty and that fear like stop you from pursuing something that God is pushing you towards or pulling you towards.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm dealing with that in my life right now. Like, I'm heading towards a direction that I know God is calling me to, but I'm like, well, I have no idea how this is gonna work out, like financially, but I'm just gonna keep on trucking. And so, you know, it is scary, but in the end, you have to, you know, trust God will do what God does and pull through and come through for you.
Yeah. And, you know, we're not experts by any means. We don't know it all. We're still trying to figure out things in our own lives. But, you know, what we do have is our own experiences and our own examples of just how faithful God has been in our lives. And even now, when we're waiting for what is going to come next and what, you know, where God is leading us to next, that we know He's so faithful, and He loves us, and He wants us to be the happiest that we can be. Yeah. So, you know, we don't pretend to know everything, because we're not even close.
No. And I personally I feel the most fulfilled that I have ever felt, really, in my life. And I live with 2 roommates, my brother and my best friend, and I'm like, make the least amount of money that I've made from, you know, out of all the jobs I made, but I feel so fulfilled because of who I am in Christ, and I know my identity, and I know what my purpose is, and so it's just kind of, even though I'm like, well, I don't know, I'm gonna pay that bill, but it'll come eventually. You know, I have a lot of hope, you know, and very excited for what God has for me in the future, but really excited for what He's doing for me, like, every day, And I think that's really important, that we're thinking towards the future, like, yeah, the future's gonna be great, He's gonna, you know, do this for me, everything's gonna work out in the future, but, like, we just gotta take it day by day and find, what does my thing say? Each day must be, hold on.
This?
Oh yeah, this! But I have a thing, but I'll show it some other time. But each day must be lived for its own value. So, it's very profound. Like, every day has value, just because it's not like where you're supposed to end up or where you're supposed to be right now. Like, the journey in itself has value.
Yeah. So, if you guys are still watching, thank you so much.
Oh my God!
We appreciate it. This one's a little bit longer than the last one,
I
but
wouldn't shut up, apparently. Literally before this, I had to take time and go and be like, okay, I need to figure out what God is supposed to speak through me today.
Yeah.
And then I end up not shutting up. So it's amazing, really is, what God can do when you ask for help.
Right. And if you actually stand back and, you know, listen to what He is saying to you, and not get in those moments where you're so frustrated and you don't know what to do and you don't know what you're supposed to say, or whatever the situation may be, you just have to relax and wait for God to show you or speak to you. So that was kind of cool that we got to experience that before we actually started this video, because it was almost like, you know what, let's just cut it and we'll pick it up tomorrow and that'll be that. But I'm glad that you took a step back and you were praying about it and trying to listen to what God was saying to you, so that we could finish this.
I think that was like a good little test.
Yeah.
You know, a little obstacle.
That was awesome.
Yeah, a little lesson.
Yeah.
Learned.
So, our YouTube channel, Chicky Chat. Don't forget to subscribe. Yeah.
Subscribe.
Yeah.
And any prayer requests or anything, feel free to, what is it called? And what's the Instagram message thing? Is it a DM?
DM.
An IM?
Direct message.
A CG? Direct message.
Yes.
Us for any prayer requests. Church extensions. Always welcome.
Every
Battle
week.
Creek.
Church on the Move.
At
11. So yeah, give us a shout if you guys need prayer for anything, and go ahead and give us a like on this video on Instagram or on Facebook if, you know, we at least made you laugh. because she's pretty funny.
Annoyingly so sometimes.
So we hope y'all have a good week. Thanks so much for watching. Peace out. You
I
can
just kissed everyone.
Okay, there you go. Bye guys. Have a good week.